Hey, we're here. Happy Devil's Night, and it's me, the Detroit Daniel Ehrenberg, and here with Henry Papali, my lord and master, my host, my crow, guiding me through life.
Oh, isn't that nice? What's up, everybody? Hello, world. It's H over here, like the lead character's name in Wrath of Man. Recommended to you all. Good
You're
movie.
opening with 30 seconds in. You're already recommending a Guy Ritchie film.
I just wanted to use H.
Yeah,
And I just didn't know how to follow it.
it's so funny that we talked about that movie so nicely for like 10 minutes before the podcast, and then the second you bring it up on the podcast, I'm an asshole to you about it.
You know, you have quirks about promoting things right out the gate. Because
I mean, it's a recommend from me too, I guess. But let's get it. Yeah, but I want to get into The Crow.
Right. But like, you can permit me like 3.5 seconds to just say it. That's all.
Maybe at the end. Maybe save it for the end, Henry.
We can write out a sheet of protocols of what I should and shouldn't say at the beginning of an episode.
Maybe we should start scripting the show before we do it.
Script the show before we do it.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. Do I have to memorize my lines?
Yeah, I expect you off book before we start.
I can't do that.
What if we got you a cue card guy?
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
That'd be all right.
Or if you put my lines on your forehead like Brando would do for other actors, it's perfect.
Yeah, or like the actors from Friends would put their lines under the fruit in the little bowl on the table in the dining room, as I learned on the HBO Max Friends reunion special.
I'm sure that was very enjoyable for you to watch.
Scintillating material.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Tom Selleck, he was there.
Oh yeah, is he selling insurance to old people?
What are you talking about? How dare you? He has been
Trumping?
No, come on. Is he a Trump guy?
Tom Selleck?
I have no idea.
Big Repub.
Okay, well, let's put that aside. He's still fantastic, and he's been on Blue Bloods for over 10 years. He's the head of a family of cops, Henry.
Hey, yo, welcome for real, everyone's to episode 260, a milestone in some nation. Not this one.
Definitely not. Henry, we're covering The Crow this week for Kyle Padavano, our old friend, P-Dot. He's here. Well, he's not here in the studio.
He's not in the studio.
But he's here in spirit. He requested this, one of many Kyle requests. He's already requested so many. Things like Evil Dead, Children of the Corn, probably some others that we covered.
That's very true. Yeah, he has, yeah.
And now here he is, back again with The Crow, and he'll be back again over the summer. I like to think of the coming summer as the summer of P-Dot. He's requested so many, put so many dollar bills in our pockeroos, and we'll sneak in our own picks, of course.
Yeah.
To break the monotony, but we will be the summer of P-Dot.
There's time for everything. We will, contributions are appreciated. But
oh boy,
it's still we'll still be curating the show, folks. So don't worry.
I've got an idea. How do you feel about open drives 2 months a year, and then that's the only time you can request stuff?
Meaning 2 months of the year are strictly solely devoted to.
No, that's the months you're allowed to request shit, and then we'll get to them.
I mean, I think that's a good idea, but I think it wouldn't change the abundance of what we are then.
Well, I think someone like Kyle could not afford this many franchises over the space of 2 months. He can maybe scrounge up $100 a month to request a franchise.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm in favor of something along those lines. We can negotiate those.
Seems like
those
an off-air
documents.
conversation.
I think it might interest people on the internal workings of how you run the show.
How I run the show.
I meant how we run the show.
Thank you. All right, let's talk about it. The Crow. Listen, I fucking loved The Crow growing up, so this is a delight to me. Owned this movie on VHS.
Wow.
Owned the soundtrack to this movie on compact disc.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And, I even owned a Todd McFarlane designed Movie Maniacs action figure of The Crow that I never took out of the box. I still have it in the casing somewhere.
Whoa, so that's like 25 years old now?
That's right.
Dude.
Might be worth something.
Goodness gracious. You ought to take that to Midtown or something.
I'll never step foot in that store again. I hate every monster that works in that piece of shit.
Right, I forgot about that. Maybe Forbidden Planet?
Maybe. Seems like maybe a convention. Like next time I go to like New York Comic Con, I'll take my action figures with me and sell them.
Yeah. I'm sure you have more than one.
I've got four of them. I think I have The Crow. I have Chucky. I have the ghost face from Scream.
Okay.
And I want to say Michael.
Spawn?
No, I don't. It's like a killer from a movie. It's like Michael Myers or something.
All
yeah.
right. Wow.
Yeah.
Inboxed. What a disciplined child.
That's right.
No, not me. Never kept anything in the box ever.
You like to play with your toys?
Yes. Yes.
I guess that's
absolutely.
understandable. In hindsight, I kind of wish I would have gotten some playtime in with those toys. It's not like I made anything
At
from
9
them.
years old, he's already worried about the value.
Well, I'd gotten into comic books at a young age, and like the comic book
So did
collecting thing is so much about like bagging and boarding.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. But you saw how much mine got fucking beaten to shit. Of course, you did a smart thing. You never brought your comics with you everywhere you lived. You just kept them in-house. So they're in pristine condition. I've seen Dan's collection. It's like a fucking museum. They're perfect.
No, I mean, a lot of them are, but the ones that I had as a kid, like, I read the fuck out of. They're horrible. But, like, once I started, like, collecting comics in earnest when I was, like, 11 or 12, I'd read them once and then put them back. All right, The Crow was a comic book created by the great James O'Barr. That's off the Dome. Let me know if I got that name wrong.
That's right.
I had some Crow trade paperbacks in black and white.
Wow.
I was a Crow head.
I mean, if I may just get it out of the way, I remember when the movie came out. I would have been, what was the release date of this film?
94, May 13th, 1994.
I was 15. I did not see it in theaters, but I did subsequently see it, but I don't even think I saw it till a couple years later, probably on like Encore or some shit like that.
I saw it a couple years later too. I was, of course, very young when this came out.
Right.
I think I think because the soundtrack, like once the movie came out on video, because I had the soundtrack, my mom like let me rent it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my recollections of it were always favorable. I really do remember because I was a massive fan precisely those years, and guitar playing as well of Stone Temple Pilots, and I remember the push that this movie gave to Big Empty. And
the Crow's in the fucking video for Big Empty.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even remember that.
I think so.
I mean, I haven't seen the video in 25 years, but yeah. And so that was like a big deal, and so I kind of always associated. I didn't remember until I watched this movie that song was even associated with, but I always associated, the Crow more with that.
For years, I thought that song was written for the Crow.
Oh, I understand that. I mean, they were inextricably linked for a while.
I think every other song on the Crow soundtrack was written for the soundtrack, And I think like the STP's contribution to the soundtrack had lines about like suicide in it. And
Right.
so they didn't want to put it on the soundtrack because of the Brandon Lee situation.
Oh.
So they fucking replaced it with Big Empty. They're like, well, we'll just pick a good song from your album, put it on there.
That's cool, yeah. From the album Purple, of course.
It's a weird song in the context of the movie, though, because it's like the bad guys, it's like they just like
they're listening
raped
to
and
it.
murdered somebody. They're like driving away, like all pumped up, like, all right, now let's put on this mournful acoustic guitar track.
It makes no sense at all. It's given about 2 seconds of airtime, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, there's Big Empty in the car. In the
Yeah,
rain.
they just cut to the car. Time to take her home, her dizzy head. Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah. You don't get anything else. I watched recently, a few months ago, I watched their Unplugged for fun on YouTube. Not the whole thing, but some of it. Forgot how great it was. It's really good.
Weiland always seemed tired to me during that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if he was on drugs or something.
I mean, I'm sure he was, but he's very good on it. But anyway,
The vibe of those Unplugged shows are so weird. Every single one of them to me. I always think those Unplugged shows have a weird vibe. Like there's something in that room, like a darkness.
Well, that might be because of Cobain, right?
Yeah, but also the Alice in Chains one. I mean, there's that weird Lauryn Hill one. There's a lot of weird shit going on with the Unplugged.
Yeah, I mean, I was there from when they started, and I remember just watching almost probably every one of them. And I remember Alanis Morissette, Eric Clapton. I
Remember the
watched-
Tony Bennett one?
I skipped that.
Everyone loved it, bro.
Not this bro.
And then
anyway.
there was you remember Bruce Springsteen did one that was plugged. It was
Skipped
the
it.
reverse. And I was like, well, but that's not interesting because you are usually plugged. See, the purpose of the unplugged shows is you get to hear what normally electrical artists are like acoustically.
Yeah, but man, the souls of my songs kind of just need that electricity to pump them through, man.
It would be great. He's like, I'm only doing songs from Nebraska and the Ghost of Tom Joad, and I'm only doing them as metal songs. It's gonna be crazy.
I'm taking it to like another degree, another level, man. You'll dig it, man. I'm telling you, you will.
Pretty good, dude.
Thanks.
right.
That's the only time I ever attempted a Bruce Springsteen impression in my life.
All right, so let's talk about the movie, I guess,
Yeah, no, let's do it. We have 2 today. Oh, and I should be mentioning, everybody, that back for the first time in quite a long time, at the request in an email from Mr. Kyle, was the superhero count.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
So it's here.
Great. I mean, you didn't even have to do anything, right? It's all superhero count because it's a superhero movie, kind of.
Correct. Yeah, there's nothing. I didn't have to do it.
Yeah. Everybody was the
I wish
answer.
that was the fucking case. I wish it was. But I know some other people will be very happy because I have heard, I remember when I kind of dropped it, people definitely were writing in favor and out of favor. And so some more than Kyle will be happy. So I'm happy to please those people.
I'm happy for a week. If
Right.
don't do it next week, but I'm happy.
Have to do it. It's
No.
Kyle.
I mean, once Kyle's done,
Oh, no, it's over.
thank you.
You're thanking me. It
I'm
makes
terrified.
me shit.
I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad you hate it. I'm glad that it became an albatross around your neck, Henry. When was the last time?
Right.
I know. When was the last time you saw The Crow?
That's a really good question. Boy, probably in college or pre-college, probably like maybe late 90s. Yeah. All the way through concentrated viewing, easily 20 years.
I was 19. I distinctly remember it. Very crucial viewing of The Cure.
Sure.
I was hanging out with this girl for the first time. Ended up, dating her for a long time. That was Her name was Sam Cooke. She was, yeah, I know.
Sure.
Now she's non-binary performance artist living in Chicago under the name Sid Branca, doing experimental art films and the like. You could catch her naked on an episode of Joe Swanberg's Easy on Netflix. And I was on my first date with her. We were watching The Crow, and it was one of those things we were like under the covers and our hands were like touching, but it was like no. But I was like too much of a pussy to make a move for like the entire movie. We got through the whole movie. And then it was the kind of thing where it's like, we both know something's going to happen, but why did I wait the whole movie? We had to put on another movie just so that something was on so that we could get going.
Interesting.
I was just so into The Crow, I think.
Yeah,
I was nervous.
I think you wanted to watch the movie as well.
Yeah. We ended up hooking up during The Doors.
Say that again?
We ended up hooking up during The Doors. She put on The Doors.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of sexual activity in that movie, so that might have helped you.
There certainly is, Henry. Now,
of course, as Vincent Perez in City of Angels, the Crow sequel we're going to be covering, he modeled his performance on Jim Morrison, as you can clearly see in the movie.
Who's Vincent Perez?
I believe he was the former president of Mexico.
Great. Why'd they have him star in a Crow movie?
The economy wasn't doing too well. He figured he'd get a good paycheck for a sequel, so he put it into the Mexican economy.
I'm not even sure that guy... I think he was just like a French guy. The guy in the movie.
Woo! I don't know, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not. Let's talk about the first one. All right,
Yeah.
So this was in development based on the comic book. You know, it was one of those books that got the rights bought up after Batman in '89.
Sure.
You know, it got into a lot of hands and ended up with Alex Proyas, who was, I think, like a commercial director. That every director at the time was just making commercials and music videos.
True.
And he was one of those guys. Here, In Excess, Crowded House, Rick Springfield, all the greats.
Hey, In Excess is great.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not talking shit.
No.
All right. His career, let's talk about it. It's been a weird one. He made The Crow. That's his first feature film. Now, I'm a fan of Alex Proyas' visual pedigree as a filmmaker, but I have to say, if on your first film, your lead actor gets shot dead on the set, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to direct movies after that.
Oh!
I'm saying this guy should have been Landis.
What about Michael Massey? Oh, he just was handed the gun, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was clearly a miscommunication on the set with the prop guys. No, I mean, I read all about it. It's like the kind of thing they thought they could do it on the cheap. You know, like forging this fake gun, but like building a mechanism so they can use it as both a real gun and a fake gun. So when they shot it thinking there were blanks inside, there were actually real rounds, and they killed the star of the movie, Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's fucking son, who'd had enough goddamn tragedy in his goddamn life.
I know. It's very strange, though, like the whole thing, like it was like not a bullet. It was like the pressure from a blank and then the distance. It's insane. Who the fuck understands ballistic? But it was very, very strange.
It was like a blank at point blank range or something.
Yeah, something like that. Like some chamber was pressurized so it had the same impact on Lee as like a regular bullet would or some shit. And I read they did surgery for like 6 hours. And God, it's just horrible, man. Horrible. Imagine being Michael Massey, though, too. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Who's this guy you keep bringing up?
One of the most famous character actors you've ever seen, and you totally know who I'm talking about. You take one look at his fucking picture, you'll see.
But who is he in The Crow?
He's the fun boy. He's the one of the thugs, you know.
Fun boy.
Yeah.
Which one of the thugs was that?
I'm trying to remember how he does. He's the one who's fooling around with the kid's mom and gets killed. How does he
Yeah,
die?
no, I see him. He's
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, he just died like 5 years ago. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Anyway, Proyas. Anyway, he was able to keep making movies after his set led to the death of a man, and he went on 4 years later to direct Dark City, which nerds love. Nerds.
Dude, it's really good.
No, I like Dark City. I'm not talking
Yeah.
shit. I just mean like that was one of those movies.
Oh yeah.
Like nerds at the time were like, I don't understand why The Matrix is making so much money, but Dark City is
Right.
not. Dark City should be a huge hit.
Yeah, you're very right. The nerds and Roger Ebert.
Yeah,
Love
Ebert,
Dark
Ebert fucking loves Alex Proyas
No.
though,
Yeah, he does. He does.
because
Always.
we'll get to it. The thing I love to bring up about Roger Ebert. So he follows that up with a smaller movie called Garage Days. That's like an Australian thing about music, like a band. I don't know what the fuck that is. But after that, he does iRobot, which I saw on a very weird first date with Gillian Kaplan, who I think is married now. And
Look at those full names for no reason. Nobody knows who it is. Saying it anyway.
hey, I've tried to Google her and haven't been able to. So good luck to the others out there who don't know any of the personal info about her.
Good for her. I saw iRobot in the theater. I enjoyed it quite a lot, I recall.
I hated it, but again, it might be because of that date.
Sure. I was 3 for 3 on Proyas, and I believe when you're done, I think I looked at Letterboxd. I think I've only seen 4 of his films, and I think I liked all 4.
Well, all right. Then he does Knowing with Nick Cage,
I like
which
that too, as you know.
is great, obviously.
I like
Yeah, I like it. I like it though in the same way I like Next. You know, I like that mid 2000s period of Nick Cage.
it, the aliens thing. I didn't see it coming.
All right, well now all the listeners will.
Spoiler alert, it's fucking 12 years old.
All right.
Did you just go... Did you just go... vape, vape,
Yeah. That was my impression of you.
I told you not to spoil the movie on the last episode, and you were like, oh, fucking whatever. It's fucking like 14 years old. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I know. I'm a hypocrite. We know that.
Odd you are. All right, go
Yeah.
ahead.
All right.
Ebert, no, that's where you're leading with this. I already know it.
Oh, yeah. Ebert gave Knowing 4 stars, of course. Then he follows that up with Gods of Egypt, which I remember wanting to see at the time just because Alex Proyas directed it, but like everyone hated it.
Hold the fucking phone. Didn't I see that? What was fucking Ridley Scott's fucking...
No, that's Exodus, Gods and Kings.
God, okay, yeah. Gods of Egypt.
Yeah, I think that's like the dumb version of that. Although, I mean, 6 of 1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. Right. This is like... Ooh, Space Cadet 1 giving it half a star.
Ooh, wait, what do you give half a star to? Gods of Egypt?
Yeah.
Ooh, shout out to Space Cadet Juan coming in hot on that one. Okay.
Mostly across the board, pretty bad reviews. A couple of good ones. My buddy, Aussie Scott, giving it 4.
How about that? All right, let's talk about the writers of this film. First of all, one must discuss David J. Show, who we've talked about twice already on the franchise. That's right, he wrote Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 with Viggo Mortensen, another franchise Kyle P. requested. And he also wrote Critters 3 with Leonardo DiCaprio. And Critters 4, the one where they're in space.
Okay.
All right, and The Crow. It looks like we're going to cover everything he's ever written. He also has the story credit on Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning.
Wow, this guy's a real heavy hitter.
What a heavy hitter David J. Show is. And he the other writer, I mean, they didn't co-write it together. I believe it was just like cobbled together from spare parts. John Shirley, who, boy, I mean, what a career this guy had.
I see it. Yeah.
I mean, it's an insane career. I mean, mostly TV work, mostly animated shit. Although he wrote 2 episodes of the Red Shoe Diaries, so one of us is probably J.O.'d to this fella's writing.
It's a likely scenario.
Yeah, he wrote the novels that the movie The Specialist with Sylvester Stallone was based upon.
And he wrote the movie. Yeah.
I don't believe so. I think that's a Wikipedia getting something wrong.
I'm not on Wikipedia. I'm on Letterboxd.
Well, I'm on IMDb, and it says Specialist Novels Suggested by.
The Specialist has 2 writers, and unless maybe it doesn't credit. Letterboxd actually doesn't usually credit writers.
That's right. I think Letterboxd. Listen. That's not
Clean
what
up
we.
their act,
That's not what we use Letterboxd for. That's not their stock and trade.
Yeah. Oh, you and I both gave The Specialist the same rating.
What, it won?
Yeah.
Or what did I write about it?
You wrote, my 2 favorite Latinx actors are definitely Rod Steiger and Eric Roberts. Stallone is roided out to an alarming degree in this, but I did like when he beat up those disrespectful youths on the bus.
Oh, I did like that scene. I still remember it.
3 likes.
Thanks for those likes, guys. Keep those likes coming. I'm over there on Letterboxd. Daniel
Can you explain
Ehrenberg.
to me something while we're on the topic? Can you explain to me something about Letterboxd?
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Why do people? I don't think you do this. I could be wrong. I don't think you do this. I don't do it. Why do people heart something? What's the point of that?
I think the heart is there. Like, say you give something 2 stars, right? But you're like, I liked it. But I always feel like I can convey the fact that I liked it in my 2-sentence review without throwing a heart on top of it.
Yeah. And I don't
I've
even
never
rate it.
hearted a single fucking movie in my life. I'm
So
not
you
ashamed to say.
Yeah, I just never really understood that. And conversely, people who give things 5 stars who then put a heart. It's like, well, I figured you gave it 5 stars.
I gotta say, I could tell that you liked the movie from the fact that you used all the allotted stars.
I'm just thinking out loud, folks. Don't take offense. I'm just thinking out loud.
I always say take offense. I don't care.
Well, because that's what you do. Why'd you just wave at me in front of the camera?
Did I?
Yeah.
I might have been wiping some orange soda from my screen, and you interpreted that as a wave.
Well, I figured it wasn't a literal wave, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great show so far. I'm happy with it.
I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. The Crow was released May 13th, 1994, on a budget of $23 million. It ended up making $94 million at the box office. It was a big hit. Came in at number 24 at the domestic box office in 1994, between Naked Gun 33 and a Third, The Final Insult, and Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers.
Neither of which I saw in theaters. So, yeah.
I might have seen Naked Gun 3. No, I probably saw it on Comedy Central.
I remember I saw the first 2 in theaters. I didn't see the third one in theaters, if I saw it at all. Yeah.
All right, Henry. Oh, we should cover those. That'd be fun.
Yeah, they're around.
They are around. This film was nominated for awards from exactly 2 voting bodies. Can you guess which?
I looked up one of them, so I do know one. I didn't know it was another one, though, so you did fool me. I know that it was nominated and picked up one MTV award. Is that correct?
Sure, let's start with that.
I always clear my throat.
I don't know why. You just have to press the button to
Yeah,
start
I know.
it.
It's like a habit for when I'm about to make a declaration.
But it's not you, it's the song.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. This.
He was just about to press the button and I started talking again. Yeah.
I was. I lost the thread of the thumb pushing. I want my MTV.
Beautiful. I'll tell you what, The Crow was nominated for Best Movie.
Sure.
At the
That's a
MTV Movie
perfect
Awards.
MTV award, yeah.
Yeah, and it lost to Pulp Fiction. I actually remember that. I remember that the
I know.
MTV Movie Awards got that right, where the Oscars failed.
Oh, we've talked about this because that's when Tarantino made his thing that I remembered, his anti-Forrest Gump
Yeah,
speech.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
They call that a Gump speech. Next, Brandon Lee was nominated for Best Actor.
Oh, Gump speech as opposed to Stump speech.
Yeah, that's right.
Give me a couple of minutes, All right, very good.
All right, Brandon Lee, posthumously.
Yeah.
But Brad Pitt won for Interview with the Vampire Chronicles. And Stone Temple Pilots were nominated for Best Song from a Movie, and they won.
Fucking A. Yeah, they fucking better give him an award. MTV got so much mileage out of that fucking video. Jesus Christ.
That whole album, they played every video from that record.
Yeah.
1994, boy, grunge, real rock and roll bands were the toast of the town.
Yeah, man.
What happened? Well, Kurt Cobain got,
He killed
himself. Yeah, just shot himself right in the head. You know what? Also, can I instruct the listeners?
Sure.
I just said on the air that Kurt Cobain killed himself. No, I don't want to hear a single fucking person in my emails, on the Discord, anywhere telling me about documentaries you watched about how Courtney Love killed him. All right?
Nobody cares, and we've already seen them all anyway, folks. Dan and I both. I've seen Courtney Love twice in person, and believe me, one time she couldn't get her wallet out to pay for a fucking book, and the other one she was crying on a stool into a cell phone. There's no way she could get together the gumption to kill somebody. Yeah.
Oh, they call that a gumption speech.
That's right.
Hey, Henry, she had a song on one of these soundtracks, right? I think it was the second one.
Makes sense. The second one, had part of like 1/4 of the left backside of my brain tuned to it. The rest
it was so hard to watch the second one. It genuinely was.
It really was. I didn't expect that.
No, I never saw any of the sequels.
Yeah.
I made it a point to do that. I was very upset when Brandon Lee died, like as a kid, and it just didn't. I didn't like the idea of making sequels to this movie starring a guy that had been killed, and so I never saw any of them, and I never expected, because this one came out in theaters, like the second,
just 2 years later.
Yeah. I had no idea it would be this bad.
I didn't either, man. I wasn't prepared.
Yeah,
like I thought this is in our experience on this show. The quality of that movie would be like on the 4th or 5th.
Yes,
6th
agreed.
The fucking second one, I was blown away. I was totally blown away. I was not ready for any of it.
Yeah, man. It was a real Jeff Bridges, Tommy Lee Jones situation.
Yeah, it interfered with my weekend. Let's put it that way. That's what I'm going to say from now on.
Can I hear that Saturn Awards theme?
Oh yeah, right. We have another. There's that other theme coming up.
Yeah,
that's right.
This is like a genre picture, and so the Saturn Awards stood up and took notice.
Oh, me always thinking that the Saturn Awards weren't around yet.
They've been around since the 70s, Henry.
I know, and I still can't get used to that.
Logan's Run won a Saturn Award.
Logan's Run, baby. Yeah, all right.
Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn, whoa, sci-fi blessed films.
I used to write classical compositions when I was a younger man, and
did you ever play your dad any of the themes?
What I write now.
Because Henry's father is a classical composer. Like there have been like concerts in New York of his compositions. Have you ever played your dad any of these themes?
I don't believe I ever have. No.
I'd be interested to hear his thoughts.
Yeah,
maybe next time I'm out there, we can play them to him. Oh, maybe we can record his reactions to them and release it as an episode.
My dad does have quite a dark, funny sense of
Yeah,
humor.
he'd
so
be
he
very
might
dry
find
and funny
pretty
about
funny.
it.
Yeah, I know he'd like my BFI theme. There's no doubt I know he'd like that. Some of the more, or maybe less, melodic tunes like Saturn Awards. I don't know.
Is he going to appreciate the lyric between your anus and Neptune?
He'll probably correct me like some of the listeners did.
That's true. You're right. I never even fucking thought about that. It is. It's earlier in the planet order.
No, yeah, and I knew that when I recorded it, but it didn't rhyme. It didn't fit the rhythm correctly. Yeah, it's between Jupiter and Uranus.
Great. All right. I don't think you were worried about the rhyme scheme. I think you just wanted to say Uranus, and then it was the first planet you thought of after that.
Okay, full disclosure, you're totally right.
Yeah. I can tell.
But I had to try.
All right. So at the Saturn Awards, they were nominated for Best Horror Movie. I mean, it's not really a horror movie, but... And they gave the award to a movie that's not really a horror movie either. The Interview with the Vampire, which aforementioned. I guess that was a popular movie. Alex Proyas was nominated for Best Director. And you know how much the Saturn Awards love James Cameron?
Yes, I do.
They even gave him a Best Director award for True Lies.
Oh yeah, sure,
Yeah.
of course. Fuck.
Nominated for costumes, lost to Interview. Nominated for visual effects, lost for True Lies. That's it.
Okay, all right.
All right, The Crow. Let's fucking talk about it. It's the simplest movie ever. All right? It's
I'm glad.
Devil's Night. All right? That's the night before Halloween in Detroit. And we are introduced to Eric Draven. I guess they thought calling him Eric Dro would be too obvious.
Well, I mean, I don't even understand. Like, why didn't they just call it? Why didn't the guy who wrote it just call it The Raven and not The Crow? He quotes Edgar Allan Poe.
He does.
His
I
name
was
is Eric Draven. I mean, just call it The Raven, man. I don't know. It's odd.
I actually agree. It should be called The Raven.
Just call it The Raven, man.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the John Cusack movie called The Raven,
Oh, God.
where he plays Edgar Allan Poe.
How was that?
Horrendous. Yeah.
They should have called it The Raven and set it in Baltimore, where Edgar Allan Poe comes
That
from.
would have worked. That would have been cool. Yeah.
All right, we just
I've
rewrote
seen
this whole
his-
movie.
I like it. I've seen his grave.
Yeah, me too. We've all fucking seen it. You're not
No,
special, Henry.
No, we've all seen
I
it.
know, I'm just
It
kidding.
was the Baltimore. It's in this tiny little place.
Yeah,
man.
I know.
Remember that? It's crazy.
Yeah, I
kinda
didn't
like
even
that.
go looking for it. We just like passed by it. It was like a shitty street corner, and Nathaniel was like, "Hey, that's where fucking Edgar Allan Poe's buried."
Yeah, when you go in, it's like it's very cool though, but like in an unintentional way. It's like it's on this like almost not a side street, right? But like kind of this rundown little chapel.
It's like an alcove.
Yeah, like an alcove, and like the tombstones. I shit you not, folks. The tombstones literally look like something out of like a Tim Burton version of a cemetery. They're like literally like riddled with moss and
Yeah.
old. His is not
Sort of like the little miniatures in Beetlejuice.
Yeah, totally. And like his isn't even like really marked up in any real significant way. I had to kind of look for it. Very strange. But anyway.
All right. Anyway, so Draven and Shelley, they're engaged, and they're gonna get married on Halloween night because they're just like a kooky kind of. They're not really like other couples. They got their
No.
own thing going.
Yeah.
He's a real.
I'm sorry. No. Go
You
ahead.
continue.
I was just gonna say those were kind of my least favorite parts of the movie. Those because of the way they were filmed.
But I like it. It's supposed to look very idyllic. It reminded me sort of Twin Peaksy.
It didn't to me though because the red in it to me it looked like a nightmare. So
Well,
it was
because it's
supposed
Devil Night.
No, I know, and I know they're like a gothy couple, but like it was just kind of odd. It was like supposed to be like this love but it looked like a fucking nightmare.
But
like,
they're goth love. It's like, this is like the movie version of when you're walking down the street, you see like a fat girl in a corset standing next to like a tall, skinny guy in a duster, and you're like, they're fucking? This is what that couple is.
Wait, when was the last time you saw a girl in a corset? Were you walking down a stone cobbled thing?
What the fuck are you talking about? You know how these fat girls, the fat goth girls, wear corsets to make themselves seem thinner and to accentuate. It makes them look like they have big boobs because they have big boobs and not because they're fat.
Squeeze out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Corset.
You know what I'm talking about, man.
I do know what you're talking about. But I was picturing
When I worked
like,
at Midtown Comics, I feel like every other female customer, and granted, we'd only get 7 a day, but every other female customer would have a corset on.
Nah, you're not wrong on that, man. They like comic book stores.
Yeah.
That's sure. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, so they are preparing, and he's a rock and roller. All right.
Yeah, Hangman's Joke, baby.
Is that the name of that band?
I took half the movie to finally squint to see the title.
Terrible name.
Hangman's Joke, bro.
It sounds like the name of a fucking Children of the Corn movie. Children of the Corn 8, Hangman's Joke.
Well, Hangman's Joke, and we like it with the rope, and you're getting in on the joke. What do you think?
I don't like it at all.
Okay, what do they sound like in your brain?
Oh, well, I think of them as being like sort of like a shittier, like one of those like later period grunge bands. So I feel like they'd sound like the Toadies. Like you'd put on Hangman's Joke and they'd just be like, "Make up your mind."
Oh, there's no way they don't sound like that.
Yeah. And at the end of the movie, he plays a guitar solo. One of the things I like about this movie is he walks around carrying a guitar like he's some kind of fucking John Mayer nerd in high school. My friend Josh Merlis, we used to take walks together. He'd walk around with a fucking guitar around his neck so he could fiddle while he's walking. Yeah, he can noodle around.
I totally get it, Josh. I might have done that myself. I don't know, in my youth.
So I think Eric Draven is that kind of vigilante. It'd be like, can you imagine if Paul Kersey came in and is like, with like, you raped my wife. I'm gonna play you a lick now.
Yeah, there's definitely some guitarists who, like, if I was in danger from their spirit, I would much rather them just kill me than to have to force me to sit down and like listen to them play.
The solo he plays at the end sounds like the first, like the very beginning of November Rain, like before it becomes a rock song, when he's just playing sort of like a very sweet, beautiful solo. Oh, you know what? I'm not even... Oh my God. This is embarrassing, Henry. I wasn't thinking of November Rain.
Oh, I thought you were about to tell me you weren't recording.
Oh my God, that would have been horrible. No.
To virtually choke you.
Okay.
November Rain? Now I am.
No. I was thinking of the opening guitar solo from Bed of Roses by Bon Jovi.
Oh.
So I think this Eric Draven character could be... Oh, I just belched. Could be a bit of a Richie Sambora.
Oh, God. I think Eric Draven's better than Richie Sambora.
Here, this is what I'm talking about. Listen to this. Ooh. Ooh. Beautiful. Ooh, baby. Come on, if you were Heather Locklear and you heard that, you'd suck that guy's dick.
Well, that's what got her. I think Hangman's Joke is like a diet Alice in Chains.
Oh, that could be. I can see
That's
it.
what I pictured.
But do you see Eric Draven as being the Lane Staley or the other guy?
I don't know, man. I don't know. He's the Hangman.
Yeah, I guess so. Now, he's he goes up. All right, it's 1 year later. They've been raped and murdered.
She was raped. Then they were murdered. Yes.
Yeah, thrown out of a very high building. They live in like a
Awesome
clock tower
apartment.
for some reason.
Awesome apartment. Very cool. A lot of red.
Well, the whole thing, the design of it is like this post-apocalyptic nightmare vision of Detroit. It's like not.
Right.
It's not supposed to be like the future. It's just it's just a weird
I don't even know why
comic
they
book
call
version.
it Detroit. It didn't make much sense to me. I didn't think of Detroit one time, and I don't even think. I think they might say it once in the movie. I'd never even thought of it as Detroit for a second.
I always think of it as Detroit because
Really?
I think because Devil's Night got its start in Detroit.
I didn't know that. Is that true?
I think my ex from Michigan told me that once.
Really?
I love that I've said everybody else's full name, and for some reason I'm obfuscating that one. All right. So it's right. They were raped and murdered. Now it's a year later. He gets awoken from his grave by a crow. All right.
Yeah.
And the crow says to him, well, the crow doesn't say anything to him. I wondered if this movie was made today.
Yeah.
I bet you the crow would have jokes, Henry. I bet you he'd be
Broke up jokes.
I bet he'd be a snarkster.
He'd be a snarky crow.
Yeah.
He'd also be CGI'd.
Oh,
We
definitely.
get a real crow, folks. If you haven't seen this movie, our listeners, it's a real crow, and I have to say, it's kind of like hitting me now. How fucking refreshing that is.
Although, I mean, it's a fake crow sometimes. The part in the second one where the crow flies by like 3 trees and then sets them all on fire. How does he even do that?
Well, they had a real crow, and they put a little ambutol in him, and then they was paralyzed, and they just put him on a stick and just threw him by some trees. I made that drug up, by the way. I don't think ambutol.
It sounded good. It's like,
Thanks, man.
yeah. All right. Anyway,
Probably mine.
so he makes his way back to his old apartment. I guess that's what you do when you wake up after being dead.
I want to figure out, like, did anyone take anything?
Luckily, it is in a state of disrepair. Nobody living there.
You living there at all, man? I mean, it's a wreck.
Yeah.
That's still made a year.
I can't believe the cat is still there. Are you kidding me?
The cat, I guess he goes outside to, like, feed himself on detritus, and then he comes back and is able to be an unattractive big white.
Whoa! It is a cute cat.
Like all long hair, shaggy cats. I'm not a fan. I like short hair cats.
I like all cats.
I like all cats too, but if I had a preference, get a haircut.
No, but then you can squeeze the little face. Yeah. All right. So he he goes to a pawn shop, gets his guitar back so he can play some sweet licks, and then he puts he paints his face, and during that whole sequence they play a Cure B-side called Burn.
Good call. I didn't know what it
Every
was.
time I fall, I turn to pieces. And then he goes, so paint your face and blah, blah. Anyway, this was a sought-after Cure B-side for a long time. They only played it live like once or twice when the movie first came out. It was released as a single, the song. And then it was recently resurrected right before COVID on their most recent tour. They added it to their set list for the first fucking time. And I love it. It was very exciting.
That's interesting.
One of their
man.
best B-sides. My Cure fandom doesn't come up a lot on this show, but
Well, it has. I mean, but not that much. No, you are a big Cure fan. I'm not really. I don't have anything against them, but between the Cure and the Cult, I'm a Cult. The Cult.
ugh, that's a stupid take.
Let's respect each other's opinions.
I don't respect that.
Has one imitation album that Rick Rubin wanted to have an AC/DC band of his own, so he made one.
Well, The Cure's released about 14 great albums,
And it's called as released one.
and Ian Astbury
Is awesome.
suck my ass, Barry. You know what I'm saying?
She Sells Sanctuary is a fucking great song.
Oh, sure. She Sells Sanctuary by the Seashore.
That's an original joke. And you like them.
The Cult? I do not.
You like She Sells Sanctuary.
I don't even know if I know that song.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Are you sure?
Positive you know that song. Find it, play it.
Okay, fine. What is it? She Sells Sanctuary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's the droning guitar. Yeah, I kind of know it. Sounds like Joy Division a little.
It does, but it's great.
All right, Henry, I'm sick of talking about that bullshit. So, next up, what happens? We've got to introduce our supporting players. Now, first of all, Ernie Hudson is in this film. Winston from the Ghostbusters. And he is smoking cigarettes and trolling the night. And, he's like the nice guy. We like him.
I love Ernie Hudson. I love him in this movie. I love him in this movie,
too.
He's great.
I've always loved him in this movie. I think this is his best role in anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He should be back for the sequels. That's what they should have done. Like, if you're going to bring anybody from the original back, bring Ernie Hudson in.
Yeah.
What else is he doing?
He could have been the Crow.
No, he couldn't have been the Crow. But, I mean, you can have him, like, on the police force.
He could be the Crow as a cop.
But he's not dead. You don't want them to kill off the Ernie Hudson character just so they can bring him back as the Crow.
Maybe he could be the Crow.
Ooh, maybe now in a reboot. Get, like, old-ass Ernie Hudson to be the fucking Crow in a Crow reboot? That would kick ass.
And it's called The Crow 5, Let Them Eat Crow.
That's good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or just call it A Murder of Crows.
Call it.
Wasn't there a movie called that in the 90s, actually?
Sounds right. It's called The Crow 7, Stop Crowing.
It's not bad, man. No, they would want to call it just The Crow. I don't see keeping the numbering of these... Well, I'm being serious. I think they should make Ernie Hudson the Crow.
Ernie Hudson. I'm with you. He's doing the Ghostbusters reboot, boot.
Yeah, I know. All right, so then there's also this little girl in this movie. Now, my impulse is to be annoyed by that, but I love this little girl.
Wow.
I've always loved this character. I related to her as a young lad, and I think
that's a hot take.
I think she's vital. I think you need her in this movie. I think it's important. I love her relationship with Eric and Shelley. I definitely think you need somebody who was close to them when, and I really like the little side plot with Eric Draven trying to get her mom to quit drugs.
Yeah. I didn't think, I agree with what you said. I think the kid, and I don't say this often in life or in film, the kid is necessary. But yeah, I mean, her acting is not that great, but it didn't super bother me.
It's not bad.
But when I was trying to find an LVP,
no,
it was hard. Well, it was hard because I had a couple of people in mind, and then I was like, nah, they're kind of just doing their job pretty well in what they're given. And this movie, we should point out, by the way, folks, is chock full of character actors. Like, we've come across a good deal of them. T-Bird is Luther in The Warriors and Luther in 48 Hours.
What?
We got Michael Massey, Michael Wincott.
Who's Luther?
Yeah, you didn't recognize T-Bird? The main...
Oh, David Patrick Kelly, yeah.
Yeah,
from Twin Peaks.
Everybody's from Twin Peaks. I love it.
Well, he is. He's from Twin Peaks.
Last week, dude, like last week, whenever there was somebody else, you're like, right, from Twin Peaks. I'm like, oh, yeah, they were in that too. It's true. It's the peak of their career if they're in Twin Peaks. I agree.
It's the Twin Peaks of their career, I would
Yeah,
argue.
it's the apex.
Yeah. Oh, that's the name of the building I work in. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. People can call me now. All right. Hey, listen. He's good. Come on. I'm looking at his career. Right. He's in all those Spike Lee movies of the day, too.
That's right. Spike used him a lot, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, great actor, great character actor. It was also nice to see the great John Polito being a real creep in a pawn shop.
Oh, if he ever, yeah.
And it was nice to see Candyman himself, Tony Todd. At one point, fucking Tony Todd got into like a fist fight with Ernie Hudson, and I was like, bro, I am watching Winston versus the Candyman right now, and I am loving every second of this shit.
Yeah, he's lucky Winston didn't have a proton pack, because then it's over.
Yeah, man. But you know what? Winston's lucky he didn't try to say that motherfucker's name a couple more times.
Now, but if he hit him with the proton pack, Candyman will go in there in that trap.
Not if maybe the little girl had another proton pack and they crossed the streams by accident.
Ooh, cross the streams.
This is dumb. All right. And then you got Michael Wincott. He's like the head bad guy. All right. Now,
Always great.
He is always great. He's always such a fucking creep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. So is Michael Massey. The two of them together, no matter what they're in, they're always playing. But they're always good, especially Wincott. Wincott doesn't always play a creep, but I can't think of when he
I think he's best at a creep.
Yeah, he does do
his voice. I mean, there's something silky smooth about that voice you don't trust.
Yeah, it's got that kind of thing going on there. Yeah. We got Bai Ling.
Yeah, he's got Bai Ling running around, just flopping around naked the whole time.
Whispering sweet prophecies into his ear.
Yeah, Bai Ling was mind-blowing when I was a kid. And then when the internet happened, she was even more mind-blowing because she was like a horrible drunk who would always show up at premieres drunk. And so there were like 1 billion nip slip pictures of her. I'll always remember it. Just a wealth.
The bilingual Bai Ling should be pointed out.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, that's ridiculous. Bai Ling cannot act. She's never been able to act, but she is a valuable presence in movies.
See, I almost thought about her as an LVP, but then after I saw the second one...
She adds a lot. She's valuable.
After I saw the second one and saw that guy's little mistress...
Could you believe they had a fake Bai Ling in the second one?
There was a lot I couldn't believe, my friend. See, the beauty of this movie is that it's a fantasy, but like it's done so well with the production design and the art direction and the cinematography and even the acting, like everyone's so committed. Like there doesn't seem to be any doubts. They're really kind of, when you think about it, and I didn't think about this before this viewing, this movie's really a gamble for a lot of these people. I mean, this guy's never directed a feature film before.
Well, that's why there's no stars in it, man.
Right. And the world he's created is entirely new. I mean, this is a pretty ambitious thing to be part of, and so everybody goes in, as you would say, whole hog. And I couldn't help but admire that. And it was sticking to its tone very well. It was just a lot more impressive than I remember it being. It was like I never had any negative feelings towards it. I always just thought it might be a little dated or overwrought, but it's a very cool film, and everybody in it is just kind of kicking ass,
Proyas knew exactly who he was. I mean, he's a guy who honed his craft on commercials. He wasn't just like toiling in that industry, and videos and shit. I think like he reached a point where he was ready to make features, and they got him at the right time. They very smartly got a cast of character actors who were willing to commit to a first-time director with a specific style. And Brandon Lee was a malleable star. He was a young, hungry guy who all of Hollywood thought was going to make it. Like, everybody thought this guy was going to be a star, and like the world agreed. This is like his only real starring role. I know he's in like some karate movies and shit, but like, and it was a hit.
Well, and I have to say this too, because you made me remember to say this. For me, he was a big revelation. I really didn't have much feeling one way or the other going in about him. I didn't, but I came out of it like, damn, like, boy, he is really compelling. Like, he's able to kind of joke a little bit. He's got a cool voice. When he gets angry and yells in a couple scenes, it's like actually scary.
And he does it in this hyper articulate kind of way.
Yes,
like, he comes across like always like he's got the upper hand on everybody intellectually.
And he's smart. He looks smart. Like, he doesn't look like an idiot.
Yeah, I really do think Brandon Lee is valuable in this. He clearly did a lot of work on himself physically through his entire life. I mean, I guess that happens when your dad is Bruce Lee. Like, you build yourself up into that sort of thing. But, I mean, there was more to the performance. He definitely has a charisma about it, a lightness of touch. He does... it's the kind of thing, the character design is so good that, like, it could have just been like a Boba Fett where like the character can ride on the character design. Like, it's good enough. But he adds so much to the performance. He does so many weird little touches. How about the thing where he like comes in, he's upside down for a second, and then he's like, it's so weird. He's very spastic.
He's spastic. He's playing a role that's never been played. So he's the first incarnation of this hero. And, he just gets it. I mean, I didn't read the comic. You did. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you read it after the movie.
Oh, yeah, of course. Years after.
Yeah. But, like, he gets this turns this kind of could easily be a completely ridiculous character, and is in the second movie. It gets his own personality, and he's just got this kind of, and he never loses sort of a combination of like the sense of the characters going, what is going on to me? Like, what am I right here? What am I? Am I dead? Am I alive? Do I have powers? What do I have? But also kind of wielding them when he knows he has them, and like the scene.
But he's also enjoying it when he realizes he's bulletproof. The glee on his face is infectious. Whereas in the second one, the first thing the guy does when he wakes up is just go back to his apartment and brood. Like, he's just like freaking out and throwing around furniture and being upset. And I don't want to watch that. That's not interesting.
No, it is not. And I really like this scene also. I think it's because of the way it's acted, written, and directed. So basically all three things. But when he goes to Ernie Hudson's apartment and they just like sit down and are talking. I mean, that's like so bizarre and so unique. Like, yeah. Like, this isn't like Batman paying Commissioner Gordon a visit.
That's what it reminded me of, though. The way he like disappears and shit. It reminded me of animated Batman with like Bullock and shit.
Well, it reminded me of Batman too, just in Ernie Hudson's responses, because that's a Gordon response. He
does that. Yeah.
He's always saying that's a famous retort. But like, it was just like a neat scene. Like, and the way Brandon Lee, like, he's like sitting on the floor with his legs crossed. It's like this odd mixture of casualness, and he's never too self-serious in the role. And I actually don't think the character design is too complicated. He's basically just looks like a fucking mime.
No, honestly, if you wanted to do it every Monday for 2 hours for a wrestling show, say WCW Monday Nitro, I think you could put together a character design exactly like this.
And who's that?
Which is what Sting did after this movie came out.
Oh, is that right? I was out by then. Okay.
I mean, you've never seen Sting when he was...
Yeah, did, but
When Sting was young, he was like a surfer guy. Like he would always wear face paint, and then after The Crow came out, he changed his face paint and he became a goth character.
oh, what that? Okay,
Look up Sting,
I'm gonna do it right now.
The Crow or something. It probably comes up that way.
Sting the wrestler.
Yeah.
The wrestler. Sting.
Are you looking? Do you see him?
I had to get out of the thing I was on. Oh, there he is. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was really mad that The Crow didn't do a single stinger splash in this entire movie. Or a scorpion death drop.
I prefer to call the wrestler Sting Steve, because that's his name, Steve Borden.
Yeah, I know that.
Steve Borden.
Steve Borden. Yeah.
Away some of the mystery.
Yeah. Boy, if I ever lose my faith in him. Henry.
When he walked to the ring, was it in Fields of Gold?
Very nice. No, it was in Fields of Barley. So, anyway, there's a lot of shit. The movie is just an hour and 40 minutes of him just killing off the people who killed him one by one by one. It's just a series of those sequences, and then mixed in we get Ernie Hudson investigating, and also Sarah, the little girl, trying to keep his identity private.
Although, I don't know, that's an interesting question you bring up. Is she trying to keep it private? I mean, I don't know if she doesn't really care, does she?
I think she is at first, and then
Know anybody,
and then
anyway.
she grows to trust Ernie Hudson because he's very nice to her in the hot dog shop.
Oh, yeah, they kind of say, are we talking about the same person?
Yes.
Like know him.
They
yeah.
compare notes. Yeah, he buys her hot dog dinner, which is very nice of him. And then the Crow goes and squeezes heroin out of her mom's arm, and then
That was wild, man.
yeah. And then the
Fucking
next
A, that
morning,
makes me cringe.
she makes her daughter eggs. So I guess she's on the right track.
Anna Levine, what most people know her from True Romance and Unforgiven. In
Oh.
Unforgiven, she's the...
I know her from the synagogue.
Really? It's very funny.
Henry. Oh, all right.
Sit next to her at Shabbos.
Yeah, Shabbos dinner for sure.
Oh, man. Yeah, she's the prostitute in Unforgiven who gets cut up, which sparks the whole...
Oh shit! Really? I never. That's wild. That's the same person. I have never made that connection.
That's who I always think of when I see that woman in anything, because she's made a lot of movies and always these little bit parts. Yeah, I always think of her in Unforgiven. Oh,
Yeah, she's really good in Unforgiven. Like really good.
oh yes, she is.
Yeah,
Very-
she's not the LVP of that movie. I'm looking at you, Schofield kid.
Hey! I like that poor guy. That actor had promise. He never did another goddamn thing.
Yeah, he tried. All right. What do you give The Crow?
I'm giving this a solid 4 stars.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch this again.
Me too.
I haven't been able to say that in a while.
No, I always knew I'd watch The Crow again. Honestly, like I had such a nice experience watching it on that date that like I liked that being my most recent memory of The Crow. But now that I've blown that gate open and shit, I'll probably want to watch it soon because we're gonna sit through like 3 of these shitty versions of this movie. I'll probably want to see the good one again.
Yeah, I know. I was relishing this movie as it was running because I was just kind of like, oh, the other ones aren't going to be that good.
I was
but
the
maybe-
opposite. I was like, oh my god, what if the
Get
sequels
more.
are awesome?
You never thought.
I
they'd-
really did. No. I always wanted to see The Crow City of Angels. Like, I was interested in it when it came out, and it got really bad reviews, and I was uncomfortable about the Brandon Lee thing, and so I just never saw it. And so, like, I was kind of thankful when P-Dot picked this, because all 3 of those Crow sequels there are reasons I've wanted to see them for years. I mean, this one just because it was a theatrical Crow sequel that I never saw. The next one has fucking Kirsten Dunst in it, obviously one of my favorite actors of all time. And the other one after that has fucking David Boreanaz, who I obviously have seen all of his work.
Right.
I'm a David Boreanaz completist.
Yes, this is. I'm glad you reminded me, by the way, that Kirsten Dunst is in the third one. That gives me something to hold on to.
Yeah, but the male lead's Eric Mabius.
I don't care. Yeah, but maybe it's not
Nice.
as bad with Kirsten in there. I'm looking forward to that I can at least have her as an anchor in my ship.
Well, the tale will be told when the film's all Dunst. So...
Yeah, no, it's a really good movie, guys. Like this was a pleasure to watch, and
I recommend watching those other Alex Proyas joints. That Gods of
me
Egypt
too.
really killed this guy's career. I guess
fair.
Knowing kind of did to a lesser degree, because even though we liked it, I don't think it did well.
I want to mention also not just the names of all the people involved in this, of the character actors and all that kind of stuff, but like. Also, the cinematography was by Darius Wolski, who's fucking awesome, and that's one of the reasons I think it looks so good. He's worked a lot with Fincher and many other people, and Ridley Scott, and the music was cool too.
Who did the music?
Graham Revell.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, we've seen him in a lot of things.
Well, we did him in Tomb Raider, but he's been around for years. Like he did.
Bad movies.
Didn't he do
yeah.
I thought he worked on Marvel shit, but I guess not.
He did the Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, he wrote this.
I give him that much credit. Why did I think Graham Revell had done some really good movies?
He did Sin City. Is this? Let me ask you a question. Is The Crow a better Sin City movie than Sin City?
I don't like Sin City, so I think The Crow is far better. Oh, okay. Graham Revell's done some very good movies.
Yeah, come on. Out of Time, Open Water, Walking Tall, some of the greats.
Dead Calm.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. He did all the Pitch Blacks.
I'm looking at all these movies, man. He was like the go-to guy in the 90s.
He did the fucking Spawn movie.
Yeah, he's done so many movies, they break him down by decade. That's something else. Wow.
Holy
Strange
shit.
Days.
You know what he did? I'm about to recommend an obscure movie to you right now, Henry. Have you ever seen the Prison Break film Fled, in which Lawrence Fishburne and Stephen Baldwin are handcuffed to each other, or like foot cuffed to each other the whole movie? Have you seen that?
I feel like I did on like Encore some shit years ago. Yeah. I know the movie.
I think it's a genuinely good movie.
He's very prolific. This guy once composed 7 scores in 1 year in 1998.
Yeah, he pulls out that electric guitar, does some crunchy fart rock.
This guy's 6 in 2000. All this guy does is write music. I mean, okay, so maybe he doesn't write great scores all the time, but he is fucking prolific, baby. Wow. Oh, Planet Terror. Look at that.
Well, he works with Rodriguez a lot. He did From Dusk Till Dawn. All right, Henry.
So who's VP?
It's Ernie Hudson. We already discussed this. Who's your LVP?
Not discuss it. We discussed it during our talking.
Yeah.
Not officially. My MVP is Brandon Lee.
I love it. I love that
because I wasn't really expecting much. I just kind of thought I'd get a good lead guy, whatever. But I really think it's too bad. He could have kicked some real ass, but he does kick ass in this movie, and it's a nice movie to have as like a tribute for him to him. And LVP was tough. I mean, I wanted to give it to Bai Ling for a while. And then I kind of thought her action sequences are kind of dope. So then I was like, the kid maybe could have been cast a little better.
No.
I don't know. I mean, who's your LVP?
I was thinking about John Polito, because I usually really like John Polito, and I found him a little annoying in his one scene in this.
It's annoying. He's a little much. And that's his thing, is to be a little much, but it usually works.
Yeah, I think the problem is, like, everyone is being asked to heighten what they normally do, and John Polito's already very, very heightened on a normal basis.
Right. He's Miller's Crossing heightened.
Yeah, and so I guess I'll go with him. My other option was all the great music in this movie. We finally get in to see a live band, and it's My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. Can't we do better?
Oh, I didn't even know that was like an actual group when I watched the movie.
Let me see Dean DeLeo, baby.
Yeah, they had bigger fish to fry, I think.
I want to see Eric Kretz pounding them skins.
I got to once.
I know, I never did. My dad saw Stone Temple Pilots live. It's like the only cool thing my dad's ever done.
That's awesome. What tour?
It was Purple, I think. Or, yeah, it was like back then.
Wow, that's fucking cool. All right, well, maybe I'll give it to John Polito, because I had the same thoughts you did. I just felt bad giving it to such a great actor. But you are right. His scenes were a little... And he's got a lot of screen time, like a lot of his spitting and swearing.
I mostly like him once he gets out of the pawn shop. I really find him grating in that pawn shop scene.
Yeah, it's a lot there. Yeah, all right. I'll the kid gets a pass. I'll go with Police.
She never acted again. Give her a break.
Yeah, I noticed that. I checked that out. And before we move on to the next movie, we have to do for KP Dot and all those people who have missed it. Here it is, folks. Here it is.
There it is, the classic score from Superman Returns.
Don't ruin everyone's moment.
Sorry.
Don't bring up that movie.
Great film.
Crow. Talking about The Crow, a great movie.
2 great superhero adaptations.
Wow. I like when you don't even believe something you're saying. All right, the first one. Ernie Hudson played Lucius Fox. Of course.
Of course, yeah.
In 2016's Batman Bad Blood.
And there's gonna be bad blood. Now they're gonna be undone. Yeah.
Moving on, he was also...
Something don't chase bullet holes. Right? That's a line from that song.
Oh, yeah. No, I have the EP.
It's a love like that. Sorry, keep going.
I'd ask you to stop, but I feel like that would be asking a star.
I have to amuse myself during this.
I know, you're bored. That's great news. 1979's The Incredible Hulk. It was a show starring Bill Bixby. Ernie Hudson starred in one episode as a character named Lee, and I shit you not, the episode was called I Brother.
Where art thou? That's good stuff, man.
Because he's black, and we had to call the episode Black.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. And let me get through this. He also plays Joe Robbie Robertson. That's an odd character name for 2017 Spider-Man.
Oh, that's Robbie Robertson, you know?
Yeah, from the band.
Oh, from the Bugle.
Band of Spider-Man got a webbing that I can't pass 10. I just grinned and shook my head, and goblins all they said. Okay.
Yeah. Take a load off, Gobby. Yeah. All right.
Take a load for free. He played General Roy Stewart in the show Arrow.
Oh, sure.
Okay, next we have the guy who played Tintin.
Oh, he's the black guy. You know, I thought that he was I think when I was young, this might be reveal me as a child racist, but when I was young, I think I thought this was the gay black guy from Chasing Amy.
Look, I'm looking at his picture on Wikipedia.
They don't look unalike, right?
No, they don't.
Yeah, Dwight Ewell is the name of that actor.
Yeah, I actually get it. I can see that now. Okay, yeah, Lawrence Mason is the actor. Played Tintin in this. And I don't remember this, but I Well, but I do know they in 2016 in Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil, he played Star, and I think Star is a friend of Stick in that. I think he's the one training Elektra in that show.
Yeah, he's also friends with Psy and Slap and Skin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Saber.
Yeah.
Michael Massey, who played Fun Boy in The Crow, was also
Fun Boy is a great character name. Doesn't it sound like something out of Train Spotting?
Very much so. Very much so. He played Doctor. Oh, he played Bruce Banner in the 2006 two of them cartoon. 2006 two cartoons: Ultimate Avengers and Ultimate Avengers 2: Rise of the
I've
Phantom.
seen them both.
Oh, well, that's Michael Massey as Bruce Banner. And he was in the great 2004 movie Catwoman playing Armando.
Ooh, directed by the great Pitoff.
And I do remember this because we covered him already and talked about him. He also played in The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. He played the Gentleman at the end of the movie. The fucking character that shows up in the cell of...
the Gentleman.
The Gentleman, Gustav Fiers. Dan tipped his hat to me.
That's the Gentleman.
He also played Spellbinder in the cartoon The Batman.
Yeah, he bound a shit ton of spells. I remember that.
And I believe lastly, Tony Todd, of course. And
Candyman, great superhero.
Right. Darkseid in The Death and Return of Superman from 2019 and Reign of the Superman.
Oh, I wonder if he called upon his parademons.
I don't know, but he's Darkseid.
Were there parademons in Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, I thought you had for some reason.
No, man. Just
a no. Okay.
Just a no. Yeah. He did play Darkseid in Justice League. So he's the Darkseid guy, basically, anytime they need him. Oh, he was in your favorite Superman show, Smallville, playing Earl Jenkins.
Who could forget Earl Jenkins?
In an episode called Jitters.
There was a whole clip show episode just about all the great Earl Jenkins moments from the history of Smallville.
How about Batman?
They got trapped in a freezer. And they were like, remember when Earl Jenkins showed up in town? And then they cut.
Jitters. They were cold.
Yeah, that's Jitters.
Yeah, that's Jitters.
Mm-hmm. Jitters is the name of the coffee shop in The Flash, I believe.
Jitters is the name of my butler, oddly enough.
Jitters?
Yeah.
Jitters, bring me another seltzer with lime, please.
Sir?
Batman the Brave and the Bold. Tony Todd played Astaroth.
This is so boring. I'm so mad at Kyle right now.
He was also Icon in Young Justice and Zoom in The Flash.
Oh, that's right. Yes, live action. I remember that. He was the main villain in the second season.
That's cool. They got Tony Todd to come in there. John Polito played a police captain in both DC's Showcase the Spectre and Superman Shazam: The Return of Black Adam.
Isn't he in like the live action Daredevil movie or something?
I think you're thinking of Joe Pantoliano.
No, I am not thinking of Joe Pantoliano.
And I don't know, but he is in. He played the police captain in 2 DC cartoons: Superman, Shazam: The Return of Black Adam, and DC Showcase the Spectre. He also played Commissioner Loeb in Batman Year One, which I did watch.
I bet you that character was named after the writer Jeff Loeb.
I bet you that's not right because that's a Frank Miller character from Year One, the original comic.
Oh yeah,
Jeff
you're right.
Around. Batman Beyond, he played a character named Major, a lot of voice work. He played Hammerhead in Ultimate Spider-Man, and we're done.
I'm gonna run into your car very hard, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dent the door. All right?
Pretty good. You just need a little bit more like ferocity. Like, I'm gonna run through your car so fast you're not gonna find it. They're gonna have to get some out of your head before you fit it.
That's good. Good Polito. You hurt yourself?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy it?
I mean, all impressions are worth what they cost physically.
I guess so. Okay. Crow, City of Angels. This comes out, of course, 2 years after The Crow and 2 years before City of Angels. So this is bridging the gap between The Crow and City of Angels as The Crow, City of Angels.
That's right.
I will say the soundtrack to this one is only a little bit better than the soundtrack to City of Angels. Maybe worse, actually. It does not... We're 2 years further away from Kurt Cobain's death, Henry. And
True.
it has influenced music in all the wrong ways, all right?
Yeah, that is for sure.
We've held on to the alternative style of Nirvana, but all the grunge that was coming out was just sort of second-rate rip-off stuff, and all the alt that was coming out was, you know, mad fun, but just a lot of weirdness and a lot of one-hit wonders and shit. So,
Well, because I feel like that grunge wasn't something that was. It was kind of like, you know, certain periods of music, maybe even in like the late '60s. You know, it was like it was something that was going on, like a psychedelic band or something. It was like it's not meant to be continued and continued. It was just of its time. There were bands who pulled it off.
I disagree. I
did
disagree. I think
variations of it, like
grunge should still be
Soundgarden
popular
or-
today.
Could or should.
I think it could. I think if Kurt Cobain never died, then rock and roll is still on the radio today.
I mean, I guess I mean.
Not that
rock
I'm
and roll
blaming Kurt. I'm just saying,
No,
like,
no, I know that. Obviously not. No, but in other variations it survived, but it isn't grunge. You know, Weezer kept going.
Weezer's not grunge. Okay, but there
they're-
are like a million grunge bands that kept going that are still making records today and still putting out vital work, but like they never had any opportunity to be on the radio because they don't play guitar bands on the radio anymore.
Well, that's true. Who's
Yeah.
still going from that era?
Pearl Jam still puts out shit.
Oh, Pearl Jam. They all didn't die. I just
Yeah.
keep thinking of them all. They're all dead.
No, Rage Against the Machine still tours. Alice in Chains tours without Lane Staley. But there's like a billion. Like Dinosaur Jr. still tours and puts out records. I love them.
They're still out.
Yeah, and they're still great.
I was in the 8th grade when I first heard their name. Wow.
I love them. They're one of my favorite bands ever. I've seen them live 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
So the first movie, you're hearing The Cure, and you're hearing Nine Inch Nails, and you're hearing Stone Temple Pilots. Really cool bands. In the second movie, it opens with a Bush song. That's a problem. I have a soft spot for Bush, but
I never liked them. I didn't vote for him either time.
what about his dad?
I wasn't old enough to vote in that election, but I would have voted against him.
But I'm looking at look at the bands on here. You got the Toadies, like who I mentioned earlier. Filter, remember Filter?
I do, but see, by this point, 96.
Filter's Robert Patrick's brother.
Is that right?
Yeah, and then you got White Zombie who doing a cover of "I'm Your Boogeyman, turn me on."
Bad.
One of the worst things I've ever heard.
Really bad.
Yeah, then you've got Hole is on this soundtrack. There's I
Never
mean,
liked them.
I fucking love Hole.
Everybody loves them. I never got it. At the time either. Like, I just didn't dig it.
Live Through This and Celebrity Skin are both classic albums.
Ugh.
There's a Korn song. Come on. You know something's going on when there's a Korn song in a Crow movie.
Yeah,
The tide is changing in a negative way. They also go to a Deftones concert in the middle of this movie.
Boy, how unhip am I?
And they're like, I want you to change in you. It's like you never had wings. That's how that song goes. Remember them? The Deftones?
So glad I checked out for a while on music.
You missed out, man. That I have nostalgia for this period. It's just
Yeah, but you were. That's right. It makes sense. But like, I didn't. I don't know, man. Once Cobain died, I was just became less into like genres of rock and just into absolutely specific bands. And so like swaths of bands were just I couldn't even differentiate anymore. The individuality just kind of disappeared.
no, the individuality didn't disappear. You just stopped paying attention.
Oh, really? So there's like a big difference between like Disturbed and Fred Durst.
Yes, absolutely.
Same fucking voice.
Fred Durst goes, "It's just one of those days when you don't want to wake up. Everything is fucked. Everybody sucks. I don't really know why, but I want to justify ripping someone's head off." And then Disturbed goes like, "Down with the sickness, down with the sickness."
Ugh. Ugh.
Right?
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
This has to be an
Close.
annoying
I
episode
really-
to listen to, right?
Because screaming, sing songs all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some people like your voice.
I don't think that's true.
I think you have a lovely singing voice.
I stopped singing for a reason. In bands and stuff.
What was the reason?
Nobody liked me singing.
Well, at least you were honest enough to accept it and not be one of those douchebags who continuously decides.
Well, I'm forcing people to hear me on this fucking show.
Oh, it's quite all right. It's a cappella.
All right, let's talk about it. City of Angels. You got Goo Goo Dolls, Alanis Morissette.
It's enough of the music.
I'm sorry. Tim Pope is our new director.
The Pope. The Tim Pope! Riding the crow, making music videos, and for a brief pop career.
All right, this guy is I think a better music video director than Alex Proyas.
Oh, I'm gonna take a look right now.
All
and
right,
see what-
he directed the music video for "Tainted Love" by Soft Cell. Okay,
I don't remember the music video for that.
Okay, for "Love My Way" by the Psychedelic Furs. Okay, and then he went on to direct almost every Cure video.
Oh, of course you like him then. There
I'm
you
just
go.
saying, like, that's pretty cool.
Boy, a lot of early stuff. So he was at MTV at the
Yep,
inception.
that's right, baby.
Wow.
He
Oh
was
my
there.
God, you're not kidding. He directed like 25 Cure videos.
Yeah.
I didn't even know the Cure did that many music videos. I didn't think that was their thing.
Yeah, all their videos are just like them in a room and they're like,
Yeah, right.
you know, playing the song, dancing around.
Oh my, he did Hall and Oates. He was all over
Yeah,
the place.
that's this guy, all right?
He was hot. Men Without Hats, The Safety Dance. He directed that video.
Mm-hmm. And
Neil Young.
So right before this, he'd been working with The Cure. He did Friday I'm in Love, and then I think the video that got him this gig, like that really pushed him over the edge. It was such a big video at the time. I Alone by Live.
Oh yeah, I remember that a lot. I
Yeah.
remember that.
That was
Distinct.
all over MTV,
It
and
was everywhere.
and so that got him this gig. He does The Crow, City of Angels, and then I don't believe he ever worked again.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. That was a
Like
good
I
decision.
can't even find any music videos he did after this. It's like he made one movie, it failed, and it was just like he stopped working.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty epic failure. I mean, it's pretty epic, like on every conceivable level. You know, I mean,
It wasn't a total failure. It made money.
No, I know, but like, I guess like who came out of this alive? Unscathed? You know, Mia Kirshner, maybe. I don't even know. I don't.
Well,
know.
she had to go with her tail between her legs to television, and then she did very well there. Yeah, I don't think anybody. You know, honestly, the guy who made it out of this movie alive is one of the least talented people involved. The writer, David S. Goyer.
He made it way more out than just alive. Fucking fame.
And honestly, like, I think the job he does on this is very similar to the job he does on Batman Begins.
Meaning
I
that
look.
requires some explanation because I honestly don't know exactly what you mean.
I mean, this guy, David Goyer, after the Crow City of Angels tanked, went on to work on the Blade trilogy and also the Batman Dark Knight trilogy.
Right,
and
right.
so my feeling with David Goyer is he doesn't have any ideas. His ideas always go to the origin story, do the origin, start from the beginning, and
He springboards stuff off talented people. That's what I've noticed in his career.
he is a fucking parasite on Hollywood. I mean, he is living in Hollywood's fucking basement. You know, living off their wares.
He finds a Nolan, and he's like a tick.
Yeah, and then Christopher Nolan's like, "What's that smell?"
And his brother Jonathan's like, "Chris, we were gonna do this movie together, man. What's gotten into you?" He's like, "I don't know, but I feel like I must Goya. We must Goya together."
I don't know what Goyer has on Hollywood that puts him in charge of every franchise. I don't get it, but this is another in a long line of shitty David Goyer scripts.
He actually wrote this full script. Like what like I am curious. We make fun of him a lot, and it's fun to do it. What did he's always co-writing shit or story by, but like he wrote this. And I mean,
well, they hired Tim Pope first. And Tim Pope had ideas that he wanted to do. He wanted to do a new Crow because he felt weird bringing back Brandon Lee, like recasting that character or something. And he wanted it to be a female Crow, and the studio...
Cool.
I know. The studio turned him down, of course.
That would have been very cool. Yeah. I mean, if you look at Goyer...
It's amazing that they did 4 of these fucking things and never thought to do a female Crow.
Stupid is what it is, because the character's malleable.
And it was like the late 90s, early 2000s. They could have just made her look really slutty and shit.
Yeah, I know. They would have loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goyer, by the way, I never knew this. Before the City of Angels, his credits solely as writer are as follows in order: Death Warrant, Kickboxer 2, Demonic Toys, Arcade, The Puppet Masters.
Demonic Toys is all right.
So this is his first high-profile thing.
And I believe directly after this, what did he write after this?
You're right. Same year, Dark City and Blade.
No. I'm thinking of something else. That's it?
Movie-wise, that's his next writing project.
Did he not write the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury TV movie
Called
Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes, he did.
Okay,
he did.
There you go.
Film. There you go. Nice call.
Another great screenplay.
Yeah. Is it really bad?
Yeah. It's
David Hasselhoff.
Yes.
Nick Fury movie.
Yeah. You never saw that? Hasselhoff's got an eye patch in that one.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right. So both Tim Pope and David Goyer have disowned this movie because Miramax tampered with the editing process, which, I mean, doesn't surprise me. It was a Dimension Pictures release, and Bob Weinstein was constantly forcing filmmakers to re-edit shit. He was a fucking moron that doesn't know fucking anything about film. And of course, David Goyer is prone to disowning any movie he makes that fails at the box office.
Oh, is that right?
He's very quick to pass the buck. If any movie he makes doesn't do well, he's just like, oh, well, see, they didn't use my ideas. I know I have the sole screenwriting credit. I know, but I didn't use any of my ideas.
Did he do that with Dawn of Justice?
Yeah, he did that with everything. He did it with Blade Trinity. He did it with... I can't think, but I'm sure other bullshit.
You know, this movie also has a fucking Jean-Yves Escoffier as the cinematographer. You know, another example of like a very big cinematographer working on this piece of shit.
I don't know who that is.
He shot Good Will Hunting, Rounders, the great movie The Cradle Will Rock, The Human Stain, which if anything else
it's
looks
a good
nice.
movie. Let's not go crazy calling Cradle Will Rock a great movie.
I wasn't. I was joking. I never even saw
good.
it.
Oh, it's not
no,
bad.
No, but Gummo, you know.
He did all the early Neil LaButes too.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Nurse,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, he's not a genius, but he's got some pedigree to him. Christ. Anyway, I'm done.
Okay, great.
Wasn't as great as I thought.
So this film was released August 30th, 1996, and for some reason I so distinctly remember this movie coming out at like the tail end of summer.
Well, I do not remember it at all. I had just graduated high school. I was looking for my first job.
It was one of those things. It was one of those things where it like debuted at #1 at the box office with like $7 million or something. Like that shitty like last week of the summer where they're not releasing anything.
Yeah, sure. August 30th.
Yeah. So budget of $13 million. You know, it's so funny how ghettoized sequels were in the 90s. I think because the direct-to-video market had gotten so big. The idea that they made the first one and it was like a big hit and it cost $23 million to make, and then 2 years later they'd make a sequel and give them $10 million less to make it.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. It is weird. That is weird. I mean, it's the Weinstein.
They just assume like it's a sequel, so it's not going to make money.
Yeah.
But now like sequels are the biggest business in the world.
Yeah, true.
It ends up making 25.3 overall, coming in at number 91 at the American box office, between Last Man Standing by Walter Hill and the.
That's fun. That movie.
I've never seen that movie. Is that good?
That's a fun movie, man. That's Walter Hill just not giving a shit. It's really garbage, but it's so much fun. You'll love it.
I like the movie that on the other side of it on this ranking, the Extreme Measures.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's the one with not Desperate Measures with Michael Keaton. We're talking Extreme Measures with Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
Fuck Hugh. And Gene Hackman, of course.
Gene Hackman, yeah.
He was sort of an evil doc. I like movies about evil doctors.
Evil doctors.
Yeah.
Like that one with the creepy guy from Darkman. Didn't he become like a dentist, evil dentist in all those evil dentist movies? I don't remember what they're called.
The Dentist. They're called The Dentist.
The Dentists. They were the dentist movies.
Yeah. All right.
Dentist 3, open up.
Dentist the Mentist. City of Angels. What do we have with this movie?
I didn't know what was happening from the opening to the ending.
No, I've got you. Ready for this? You got Vincent Perez.
Idea.
Vincent Perez is playing a character named Ash Corvin.
Horrible.
Now, Vincent Perez was a French actor of some note. We gave him two opportunities in America. Both of them they didn't go well. This was the first one, and the second one was Queen of the Damned. He has a big role in that, and he is equally horrible.
I didn't see that. Okay, that's the Aaliyah thing.
All right, so he and his son are murdered by a gang. Sure, it's a drug dealing group.
Yeah, it's great.
All right.
It's heart-wrenching.
And the leader of the drug dealers is the fine actor Richard Brooks, who we've covered before. I don't remember in what, but I remember we did. He played the only black guy in Teen Wolf. His character's name was Lemonade. Do you remember that?
I saw that when I was looking for the superheroes, and I was like, who the fuck is he in Teen Wolf?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
I know him primarily from his work on Firefly as the character Jubal Early.
Jubal Early was a Civil War general.
Oh, well, Firefly robbed that name for a character.
Okay, well, I think he was a Confederate, so.
Well, he's a bounty hunter, so that works out.
And he's a black guy.
All right. Hey, Joss Whedon had something to say. I'm not sure what it was.
I'm not sure.
All right. So he's dead. And then, of course, a year later, the Crow brings him. It's like the same as the first one.
It's the same, but I didn't even know how they died. It was like, were they shot and then drowned, or bound and then drowned and then shot?
I didn't care.
Like,
I didn't care. I knew that there was it was drug dealers, and they killed him in the sun.
But they kept showing it over and over again, like underwater, trying to escape.
I was just trying to follow this. All right.
So was I. That's why I'm trying to unpack it.
But you are asking for too many details. When it is this stupid, you have to just look at the barest elements.
How they were killed. You can't even.
Not important. They're dead. That's all that matters.
You're digging too deep, Hank. You're going too deep, baby. Just let them die.
That's
However
right.
they die is fine.
Correct. All right. So here's one thing I didn't understand is when he is awoken as an immortal being. Well, he's not immortal. He's only gonna be alive for like a day. But when he's awoken as the Crow or whatever, he doesn't know what's happening. Like in the original movie, the Crow was there to guide him, and you'd even get like Crow vision, where it's like, what does the Crow see right now? And the Crow, like Brandon Lee, could see through the eyes of the Crow, the bird.
Correct.
It was interesting. Now in this one, he wakes up freaking out, not knowing what's going on. It's sort of like when Angel came. Sorry. Are people in the Discord watching that? No, I'll spoil it. When Angel came back from hell on Buffy and he was all primal and freaking out. Know what I'm talking about?
What are you talking about with the Discord? What's the difference if people?
I didn't want to spoil anybody because I know like somebody's watching Gilmore Girls in the Discord right now, so I didn't want to spoil that listener.
Well, that's very true. We do have like thousands of listeners all over the world.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about the top 5, Henry. I aim the show at the top 5.
I aim it at the top 5,000.
Wow, what a nice guy. I don't give a shit about most of you. All right. No, I do. I would like you to all contact me.
Would like you all.
I would like every listener of the show to be like, you're doing a good job, buddy.
That'd be great. All of a sudden you get flooded with
The franchise pod at gmail.com. All right.
5,000 emails at once. I'd dig it.
Henry.
Daniel.
What were we talking about? Oh, right. So they're dead. And he's freaking out. He doesn't know what's going on. He goes back to his apartment. He's like throwing shit around. Like, what is this fool? Having a fucking temper tantrum.
Great sepia tone camera work. Very hard to see anything. I
didn't have a problem with the camera work.
Site, and I couldn't understand. No, it's not that it's like jerky or experimental or anything. It's all just like it all looks like the video Closer by Nine Inch Nails. It's all like shot in like yellow piss water. I couldn't tell.
You know what? There is a lot of yellow piss water in this movie.
Lot.
It was like fucking Alien 3. You're right.
Looks like a bottle of Coors Light was thrown on a vomit bag or something.
Everything from like the mid '90s looks like this. I feel like those like Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, or like Freddy, or like Jason Goes to Hell. I feel like they all look like they're shot through piss.
But those are almost like unintentionally look like that because they're not good at their jobs. This is like an intentional wash of like suave colors just kind of waving around.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get the movie to look cool at any cost, but it doesn't really look that cool.
He failed.
All right, so now we need somebody to tell him what's going on because apparently the Crow doesn't do that anymore. The Crow just likes to leave the guy in the dark.
Yeah, plus the guy has a really bad haircut. Brandon Lee could work. He rocked that like kind of shaggy, but Vincent Perez has a hairline like me. And if that's happening, it's just not going to work. He looks like he's been blown out like a bad perm or something, and then he just looks.
I also don't like the minimalist Crow makeup they used, where it's like the black lines on the eyes and mouth, but they didn't paint his face white. So he just sort of looks like fucking the Joker when he's like just getting started on his makeup.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's sad. And Vincent Perez kind of just walks around and doesn't know how to talk. And because I'm American and his name was Vincent Perez, I thought he was Hispanic.
He's not American. He's French.
Because I'm American.
Oh.
It was a joke on American ignorance. I didn't know he was French, and so his
He
accent
speaks with
is
a French accent.
I couldn't even hear. The accent I heard was an indecipherable Euro disco, whatever. I didn't know what it was.
No, it sounded like the guy. Who's that, like, dude from Ocean's 12? Yes, exactly. All right.
Je m'appelle Je suis Crow.
So Mia Kirshner from the L Word shows up to, like, tell him about what's going on. And she's playing Sarah, like the little girl from the first one.
She didn't grow up to be what I thought she'd be.
I gotta be honest, I didn't know it was her the entire time we were watching. I had no idea this was supposed to be the little girl from the first one until I read the plot summary at the end of the movie.
I only knew because I read the plot, like the first few lines of the plot summary, to just ground myself to get into it. I don't usually do that, but I did, and I was glad I did, because then I was like, oh, okay. And clearly Sarah got an issue, unfortunately had some sort of cataract problem, because her eyes are glaucomic. What is going on with Mia Kirshner's eyes? Are those her eyes?
I did not notice what you're talking about.
You didn't?
No. I am a fan of Mia Kirshner. I think she's a good actor. I don't know what she's doing in this fucking movie. I think she looks great, though. She looks in this...
Great.
I'd never seen her this young before. And, because I think the first thing I ever saw her in was the L Word, which is years later. And she looks sort of like a white Ana de Armas.
Interesting. Ana de Armas, of course, of the great Blade Runner 2049.
No one cares.
Mia Kirshner's eyes, they have like a film over them or something. It's very odd. I'm surprised you didn't notice that. They look like fake eyes.
Oh, they might have, maybe they put contacts in so that she would have the same eye color as the little girl from the first one. Not realizing that nobody was going to fucking remember what that girl's eyes were colored.
It's very weird. Of course, and we're getting to one of the crew of villains has a great crop of people. The great Thomas Jane, who was unfortunately a few years away from becoming the great Thomas Jane.
But I will say, that's my favorite death in the movie, by far.
While he's jerking off to...
First of all, there's so much jerking off in this movie.
More than that scene? Who else is whacking?
Oh, I gotta be honest, I watched another movie today where there was a lot of jerking off. I feel like I've just seen a lot of jerking off today.
You mean, what could that have been? Was that like Screwball or something?
It wasn't, actually. It was in that Josephine Decker film I was telling you about.
All right.
So, yeah, you get to see Joe Swanberg stroking his cock a bunch in that movie. I mean, you don't see his penis, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't.
All right. Hey, so what was I talking about?
Thomas Jane.
Thomas Jane. Okay. So Thomas Jane, he goes to this like nudie booth, like a peep show. All right? He puts in the coinage and the fucking wall comes down and there's a sexy lady there and
he's on the phone.
Yeah, he's chatting with her. Yeah, like it's like fucking he's visiting someone in jail or something. And
she's not holding a phone. He's holding the phone.
Well, no, but she's being intercommed too, I believe.
Yeah. So he's got one hand free.
That's right. He's talking to her with one hand on the phone. With the other hand, Tom Jane now we know what Tom Jane looks like when he's stroking that big dick.
He's just punishing his own member.
Touching his old cock and balls.
You get it? Punishing?
Oh, right, because he was the Punisher that one time. Oh, superhero account.
He couldn't see her, though, through the mist.
Because he was in the mist. He came 61 times, asterisk. All right. So
He probably could have because he had to reach orgasm in under a minute in this movie.
yeah,
They
so
gave him 60
but he
seconds.
he was doing it. He was like almost there. He was almost there, and then he was like, "Fuck, god damn it. I'll put in one more coin
Right.
and then I'll come." All right? So first he has trouble getting that coin out of his jacket pocket. Can you believe he couldn't get that coin out of that jacket pocket, man? So he finally is able to. He puts the coin in there. Do you think the jacket bit was just Tom Jane fighting for more screen time? I wondered that.
It's like, I gotta get noticed. I gotta stay on here longer.
Yeah. Can't get this fucking coin out. Keep filming me. Can't. All right. So then he finally gets the coin back in. The wall comes down, and there's the fucking crow standing there. I almost shit myself. I loved it.
You knew it was gonna happen. You knew.
I figured, but it was like, there's no way they could fuck this reveal up, and they didn't.
It's pretty bad.
It's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, the best part of the movie are certain line. Well, the lines aren't good, but sometimes there's somebody in a movie who just shows up, and you're like, "This is awesome that this person's in this movie." And since this movie's so bad, this is the best thing in it, hands down. That's Iggy Pop, folks.
Well, it's always fun to see Iggy Pop in anything, and this was during a weird period of his career where he still looked presentable and he wasn't too uncomfortable to look at with his shirt off. And so,
in the same year, his song "Lust for Life" got a big boost from Trainspotting.
yeah, I will say, I didn't need a Stooges song in the movie. Like, there's one sequence in this movie where we're following Iggy Pop around a club, and you can hear they're playing "I Wanna Be Your Dog" in the club.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And like, I popped when the song first started because it's one of the fucking coolest songs ever written. But it also took me completely out of the movie because then you're just looking at Iggy Pop.
Right. Yeah. But honestly, in this type of movie, who gives a fuck?
I understand that. Like, now watching this movie, I appreciate it. But like, I'm trying to watch this movie on the prism of like, we're making a Crow movie, and on some level, some of the details are good. Like the casting on paper of this villain crew is pretty solid. Like, Richard Brooks can act, although he's doing this odd, like, predatory gay guy character in this movie.
I care for it.
Yeah. I don't like the performance either, but I think he's a good actor on paper. And then you've got Iggy Pop, who's fucking a cool presence. You got Thomas Jane. Like, there's good people involved. Weirdly, you know who the fake Bai Ling was?
No.
It was the Yellow Ranger, the original Yellow Ranger from the Power Rangers.
Oh, I read about that. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the woman with the hood over her head with the no eyes. There's that character, Sybil. You're talking about the other one, the fake Bai Ling.
Yeah. The one we talked about already.
Yeah, he has two sages in this movie. He's got like two.
He only has one sage. There's like some blind bitch who's like giving. But then, like, on the other hand, you've also got a fake Bai Ling who's just walking around like probably fucking this Richard Brooks character.
Right.
And well, yeah, I wasn't gonna. She died in September 2001. All right. She died in a car accident in September 2001. Do you want to take a wager if it was before or did she live to see 9/11? I'll Venmo you $10 if you get it right. Come on. Get it together.
Before.
You think that she died prior to 9/11? She never got to see it? the towers come down.
Yeah.
You're right. She died September 3rd. Well done. At age 27, by the way, the Yellow Ranger, part of the 27 Club.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Of course, the only Asian Power Ranger was the Yellow Ranger. Like to talk about that. I think the Red Ranger was part of the Lakota tribe.
I was just gonna say.
Jesus.
Oh, God. All right.
All right. Henry.
That was a little much for 120 seconds on me. All right.
I mean, do you have anything else you want to talk about here?
Oh, I don't know, man. I mean, this movie was a complete piece of
Hey,
shit.
who is Grace? There's a character named Grace in this movie,
Yeah,
played
yeah.
by this girl from Seventh Heaven I used to want to fuck as a kid. So, like, who was that? I didn't even recognize her.
Grace. Beverly Mitchell as Grace.
Yeah, Beverly Mitchell. Everyone else was like, ooh, Jessica Biel, and I was like, get out of here. I'm a Beverly Mitchell man.
A homeless kid that Mia Kirshner finds and sidles up to on the street and gets her something to eat inexplicably.
Oh, yeah, I like barely watched that scene. That's all right.
Yeah, that's
By that point in the movie, I'd pretty much checked out.
Yeah, it's a rough go. This film, it's one of the worst things. It's up there.
It is not. It is not. I actually heavily considered giving this a 2. I was at a 2 for probably 75% of the movie.
Oh my God! No way. I mean, this was gutter trash.
I didn't feel that way.
This was painful shit. I mean, and I gotta say, this is not usually the case because it's usually the production and everything around it that makes it bad, and that was the case here. But the fucking acting was so bad, even from decent otherwise actors, and the writing was just so fucking stupid. Every line of dialogue is so bad.
And I know that Dimension made them hew closer to the template of the first movie. They wanted to, like, go outside the box a little bit more. But I just think this is a movie with zero ideas. Like, even if you're using the first movie as a framework, like, give me some thematic weight. Give me something to hang on to. You know, in this one, it's a father and a son, not lovers, who have been killed. Do something with that. That's interesting. But I feel like we never hear about the kid. He's just, like, bummed about the kid.
Yeah, and get a better lead.
The lead is a huge fucking problem in the movie, and he's my LVP.
Let me see. I remember I wrote down a couple, but he was one of them. You're sticking with him as your LVP.
Yeah,
sure.
And I am giving this a 1. I didn't like the movie, but I definitely didn't find it remotely as painful as you did.
Oh, I did. It was a rough go for me. Okay, I wrote Vincent Perez / whenever I write a slash, it means I'm thinking about it. Richard Brooks is the villain because I found him very off-putting. But Vincent Perez is going to get it because he just sinks. He sinks this fucking thing.
He's the star of the movie, and he brings nothing. Like, it'd be one thing if, like, he was at least, like, a charismatic guy who can't act, but he, like, doesn't hold the screen. It's, like, impossible to look at the fucking screen when he's on it.
It's very true. It's very true.
They should have just gotten fucking Sting.
That would have been great.
That would have been great.
Get Chris Cornell, man.
He can't act. Come on.
I'll put him in. I've got crows in Hammond's fountain night. That's the Bond song.
What is that song? Oh, you were doing You Know My Name.
Yeah.
I'm
going hungry.
Going hungry.
I'm going. That's a perfect call and response for this show.
Yeah, it's great. All right, classic stuff. MVP. Who's your MVP?
Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop, sure. And I'll go with Tom Jane. for jerking off and dealing with his jacket.
No,
I also
fair
thought
enough.
Mia Kirshner was fine in this movie, but I've liked her more elsewhere.
I got two superheroes, so just two.
Okay.
Richard Brooks was Warden Gregory Wolf in the 4 episodes of The Flash. Do you recall him? And did you stick with The Flash that long?
Yeah, I watched it for like 4 or 5 seasons. I probably saw him. I just don't remember.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all he's got to his name. Thomas Jane, of course, was the Punisher in the 2004 great movie, The Punisher, credited as Tom Jane.
We gotta do that on the show.
Oh, it'll happen.
The
It's gonna
Punisher
happen.
movies are so good. I love the fucking Dolph Lundgren one so much.
That's one I want to see because I haven't seen it in like 30 years.
It's good. I'm telling you, it's a better Punisher movie. Like, it feels like the comics, kind of.
Really?
Yeah.
It ain't better than a Netflix one.
No. But I think it's the best of the 3 movies.
Oh, I'm sure you're right on that.
No, even the third one's not that bad. Only the Tom Jane one's really shitty, in my opinion.
Who's the lead of who plays the
Ray
Punisher?
Winstone, and he's not good, but the movie itself is
Thought some of
interesting.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Punisher for Tom Jane, and then the other thing he was in was DC Showcase Jonah Hex, playing Jonah Hex.
Ooh,
Weird.
Josh Brolin passing that torch.
Yeah, a short film. Also, he played the Punisher in a Punisher film called The Punisher: Dirty Laundry. I don't know why I included that. All right, that's it.
Tom Jane is a huge Punisher guy. Like, if you read it, like, he knows all the comics.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a shame that he's in such a shitty Punisher movie because he'd be a good herald, like a good torch holder of that character. But oh well.
Well, he's great. Probably my favorite Tom Jane movie is The Mist.
Oh, mine too, for sure. I fucking love The Mist. All right, H-Dog. Yo, David Drayton. What's his name in that?
Wow. Fuck.
I know that.
I'd never be able to pull
Here's
that
my
out.
impression. Here's my impression of him in The Mist. God, no, God. That's him at the end.
That's because he kills his son.
What
And then-
spoilers for The Mist? Jesus.